welcome to the Stealthy Crafter. I'm Jessica, and today we are doing a Wip Chat. If you're new here and you don't know what Wip stands for, it stands for Work in Progress. And what normally happens during a Wip Chat is that you can bring your own whips, or if you want, you can do chores, sit on the couch, do whatever, drive, as you listen to me ramble about what's been going on in my week. With that being said, let's get started, shall we? So I hope you guys have had a good weekend. It's kind of been very gloomy and rainy for the most part. We finally got some sun now, but everything's still really wet outside. So the kids, they're not really enjoying their first few days of summer so far, of summer break. So we've been kind of stuck inside for the most part. Especially since that they got to visit their Nana and Papa for a sleepover. I'll talk about that a little bit. But yeah, it's been just kind of one of those gloomy off days. We are trying to get settled in. It's only been the first few days of summer break, as I said. We haven't started any of the school homework. It's supposed to start in June. I might start getting them into it a few days early, to be honest, since we're right at the tail end of May. But we've been having quite a few of emotional days, like right at the end of the school. It was very emotional for me. So not a lot had happened on Tuesday with the kids and I, like after my Whip and Chat on Monday. We didn't really do a lot. It was just more of like Michael kept getting homework all week. And I was just like, really? This is the last week of school and you're still sending homework out? Okay, whatever. So he had to do homework both on Monday and then Tuesday. He didn't have to do anything on Wednesday and Thursday, but I think that's because of what we did. So on Wednesday, I went to the award ceremony for both him and Jaina, and they did this whole pictures of the kids, videos and stuff like that, of what the kids did right at the end of the ceremony. They both did excellent, and I was, very proud of them, but, I started boo-hoo-hooing, as I often do. By the way, since the kids are now home full-time, I apologize if you hear any loud noises, if you hear arguing. I will try my best to, stop the video, and see if they quiet down or anything. But I do apologize about that. My husband does have the day off, so he said he'll try and hold down the fort for me. So keep your fingers crossed. But yeah, so we had a bit of emotional time. Got to see the teachers, Michael's and Jana's teachers, on Wednesday, and we decided that we were going to just take the kids home. We asked the kids what they wanted, if they wanted us to take them home, if they wanted to stay in school, because it was a full day. And I did not get to sleep in at all for Wednesday and Thursday because of how early we had to stay up for. But yeah, it was like their award ceremonies was 8:00 in the morning. So the school starts at 7:30 and we go in at 8, and then we turn around and go home. It was a long day for both days for me and my husband. We usually try and take a little bit of nap, and that didn't happen. But yeah, when on Wednesday, we decided we're going to just take everyone home, so that way we didn't have to turn around and get the oldest, out of school. Because we were allowed the option of taking our kids home after their award ceremony. So we did that. But it was such a struggle. They did things differently this year. They seem to change things around. So this year they've basically gotten hold of our ideas, which, not a big deal, but people complained. But it did take a lot more time. It's Normally what would happen with the award ceremony was like the school doors would be open, we would be allowed to go into the cafeteria and be able to sit in for the ceremony. But like I said, this time we had to get checked in via ID, and they didn't account for that time, that because they were still doing the same time if as it was last year. So people were coming in late, and my husband and I were there early, so we got lucky with Michael and Jana's award ceremony. Not so lucky with Nicole's. um, we normally get there like 15 minutes before the whole thing, 15-20 minutes, to make sure everything was, we weren't going to be late for the whole thing. Because like literally what we did was like we dropped the kids off at school. We came back home. We got showered, dressed, ready to go, and left. Like both days. But yeah, they took a while getting our IDs set up and then getting checked in, and we were fine with that. With Michael and Jana, it wasn't so bad because we were able to get in so quickly. But not a lot, I guess, because not a lot of parents checked in for the younger kids. But man, trying to get them checked out for the day was a madhouse. Cause for both days, I honestly like trying to get all the kids checked out. They were just like constantly calling the students' names over and over, and no one was like coming out. it was it was crazy. I got to talk to their principal a bit, and he gave me some good news about the kiddos. I can't say anything about it just yet, but it's really good news. I'm proud of them so much. So we were told that. Then we decided just to take the kids home, and just do let's see, we just did lunch at home and everything like that. We didn't go out too crazy. We did everything a little bit crazier the next day though, with Nicole's award ceremony. But yeah, like, oh man, I thought I cried a bit on Michael and Jana's. Whoo, no. They did this whole thing. So, like I said, we had to check in for our like with our IDs, which again, not a big deal. But we missed their walk. I missed Nicole's walk altogether because there was just such a huge line, and they were not able to catch up. At one point, a lady had to come up and was just taking IDs from us, and then going into the front office to get checked in faster. And I was just kind of a little worried about my ID, going missing. But yeah, it was just like, it was just craziness from that. But yeah, we missed out on her walk, and we were not able to get a seat anywhere. I finally was able to find a spot for me to sit down, but it was like closer up front. And it was a pretty big award ceremony. There was like a lot of awards were given. They did like Nicole got like over 11 things. Also, they they made acknowledgments about their their TV thing that they did. So Nicole got acknowledged. She did it like 3 out of the 4 times this entire year. Then of course gifted and talented stuff. They talked about perennial math. They did a lot of like awards. Nicole gotten some really out there things that I wasn't expecting it. But of course all 3 of them got principals honor row. They all did really excellent. And I was doing good. Nicole was doing good as well. Like, she just had this smug look on her face. I was just like trying to get her to smile, and it's just like this smug look. She's like, I was smiling. I'm like, no, you're not. You were smirking. So like all of my pictures was just this half smile, like, yeah, what's up? I know I'm the best, like that. And I'm like, goodness gracious, kid, I need an actual smile from you. But yeah, I was just, goodness, this thing is making a lot of noise when I'm leaning up against it. Okay, let's pull the table out just a bit. But Yeah. Plus, I feel a little awkward talking because my daughter, she's in the next room. She's doing the whole teenage, I'm coop up in my room kind of thing. So it's like, I know she can hear me talking, and I'm just hoping she doesn't like interrupt me, because I'm such a cringe person now, Um, but anyway, we were doing good. I had small tears. I didn't just yet. I was like keeping it together, and then they posted the video that they did with like what they did with Michael and Jana's class, and the first thing it says, um, we're on our way, class of 2030, and I'm like, oh God, I'm not ready. Don't do that to me. um, so yeah, and there was a lot of pictures of Nicole. I was pleasantly surprised because I don't know if I mentioned this before, but her first few years when she was at the school, they didn't have a lot of pictures of her. Like, she wasn't in a lot of stuff, which was very disappointing. I was a little upset that, at least the first 2 years, nothing. And then, like, the next few years after that, we were starting to get some. But this year, holy cow, like, I was surprised to see how many pictures she was in. It was kind of awesome, to be honest. I was just surprised. But yeah, I started tearing up. I started, silently crying. Tried not to sniffle too loud. And there was a little girl sitting next to me, and I just kind of got hit with these, like, a lot of these emotions, especially since this little girl was like, um, was just, I would have to say like 3 or so, and it just made me think about when Nicole was back in first grade, and Michael and Jana were just these little tiny toddlers, and they got to sit next to me while we were all celebrating her awards, and then I lost it. I lost it at that point. I was like, I can't, I'm done. I'm here comes the waterworks. It's out. And my husband, he's like in the back because he didn't have a seat. Um, I went to look for a seat because there was no way I was going to stand for 2 hours. And I'm so glad I did find a seat. But I felt bad for him. He was in the back just taking videos and pictures as well as he could. Um, but one complaint, and I agree with his complaint. One complaint was someone decided, instead of like celebrating their kid, they just watched YouTube videos very loudly in the back. So he had a hard time hearing everything. It was quite annoying. It's like, okay, if you're gonna watch YouTube videos, okay, whatever, but please don't be having them up, the volume up as loud as you can. Be respectful of other people. Have some earbuds or something like that. That was really annoying. But yeah, but I was like, okay, let's wipe our eyes, because Nicole was like literally 2 rows away from me, like in front of me. So I'm like, let's wipe our eyes. Let's, make sure that we're doing good. Don't look like a hot mess right now. And she turned around, and I was like just smiling a little bit, giving her a thumbs up, and she rolled her eyes and whatever. I was just like, okay, good. She didn't know that I was crying. um, sorry. So then they did a fifth grade performance, right? And they were, singing their song that they did like for the they did for like a performance thing from like a month or two ago. So it was a song I already heard, but not a big deal. So we just clapped our hands and celebrating them, and then the principal goes on and does a little closing speech. And here's where it gets. Here's what happened. We were doing fine. I was like, I didn't have her see me cry. I didn't have my husband going, woo, good job, hollering. Felt like we weren't doing we were doing our best not to be cringy or anything like that. And then the principal's like saying, please go into the cafeteria behind you for refreshments. Let the students go in first and you can meet up with them. And I was like, okay, I'll meet up with Nicole. I'll just stand here, right? But people are like kind of pushing and already trying to get past. I'm like, man, people need to be respectful. Let these kids go first, right? Um, and Nicole gets back to her chair so she can collect her awards. And then she just looks up at me and then starts sobbing. Like, and I was just like, oh no. I start sobbing. So so we're just like 2 rows away, crying our eyes out. and I'm like, you know what? I don't care what the principal says. And I'm like, Nicole, do you want a hug? And she goes, yeah. And I'm like, okay, come over here. And I'm like sitting on, I was like on the edge seat. So I'm like next to the, not principal, but like next to the teachers and stuff like that, the staff that they have. And, they saw us crying and they were crying and they were like, oh. And I got Nicole to come over to me. And I just started hugging her, and she's just crying. She's like, I'm gonna miss this school. I'm like, I know, it's okay. It'll be alright. And she's like, I'm gonna miss all my teachers. I'm like, I know. And she's just crying, the poor kid. And I'm just like, trying to cheer her up. And we finally, calmed ourselves down enough so we could go to the cafeteria so she can get some cupcakes. I was trying to convince her, just leave the cupcakes. Let's just go home. She was not falling for it. So we had to stand in line for cupcakes. But she got her cupcakes. She got to hang out with some of her friends. She got to see her teachers. Like, one of the teachers is like Michael's teacher this year, or well, it was. And she came to say goodbye to all of her previous students that she had. Of course, Nicole was there for as a second and third grade teacher. So she got to say goodbye to Nicole. And, then Nicole's like kindergartner teacher came by. I was like, man, all the teachers, are sneaking out to say goodbye to their students. And we got to speak to a couple of her friends. And then at that point, I was like, okay, let's start wrapping it up and let's get going. School's going to be out in about 30 minutes. Well, not 30 minutes. It was like an hour. By the time we left, it was almost about 40 minutes left of school. I mentioned to Nicole's old teacher that we were actually going to pick up Michael, and she goes, oh, well, Michael and Jana are both at recess right now, so it might be a little bit hard to get them, but they're supposed to have lunch, when we called to get them excused, it was literally lunchtime for their class group. I'm like, I don't want them to eat lunch. I don't want them to get bag lunch. It's time to go home. Plus, cheaper not to spend another $2.50 for bag lunch. But I decided to just go in the car with Nicole while my husband took care of the kiddos. I signed out Nicole for her because it's like at the front we got to sign her out. It was a lot more easier process to sign Nicole out compared to to get Michael and Jane out the day before. That was crazy. But we decided to kind of celebrate everyone, like eat out and stuff like that, but it was still too early to eat lunch or anything like that. So I'm just like sitting with Nicole and we're just talking, like trying to figure out what we want to do. And I'm like, man, it's taking them a while to get the kids. And apparently just, it was just so hard to get everyone's attention. But I see Michael and he looks so upset. I'm like, oh no, what's going on? Like, I was thinking like another kid was bullying him or something like that. No, he was just really sad about the fact that he saw his second grade teacher. So he was really sad about the fact that he won't be able to be in her class again this year. And he was so sad and he didn't want to leave school. And I was just like, oh no, here comes the waterworks. I felt so bad for him. The poor kid. He's so emotional at times. It's just so cute and I'm just like, oh. So yeah, we had to calm him down a bit. But we went to a playground. We told them that they could have fun. Michael and Jana already had recess. And they were kind of complaining right at the end. They're saying how bored they were, and I was just like, to me, it was more of an, I don't think you guys are really bored. I just think you guys are tired. But they're like, no, this place is boring. I'm like, no, I think you guys are just tired because you guys played a lot already. um, but we kind of wrapped it up at that point. Told the kids, let's go and get some lunch. So we went to uh, get some Wendy's, and along with that, my husband decided to surprise everyone and got some Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, Dunkin' Donuts. But that was kind of disappointing, to be honest. They were so confused about the fact that we ordered 2 dozen assorted donuts, um, and like because we put it in like a mobile thing, and he ordered coffee for both me and him because we definitely didn't have any coffee when we went to go to the awards ceremony. So he was all like, "We need coffee." I'm like, "Yes, we do. We need coffee so bad." um, but but it was just like, man, this is going up against a wall again. I'll have to fix that tonight or so. But anyway, he was he was like, we're gonna need coffee and we're gonna get donuts as a nice little surprise for the kids. And they were just like so surprised like that we asked for 2 dozen assorted donuts. They came out with the coffee, and then we're still sitting there because we're waiting on the donuts, and they're like, was there anything else that you needed? Like, we're like, yeah, we ordered donuts. And they're like, just glazed? I'm like, no, assorted. And it was not an assortment. I'm like, oh my goodness. Because this time it was just like, I think we had over 6 like chocolate sprinkled donuts, 2 strawberry sprinkled donuts, and then like 3 chocolate donuts. I think we had like over 5 or 6 of the cream filled stuff, like not Boston, it was like powdered donuts with like some cream filled instead. And I was so disappointed because I was hoping at least there would be like a jelly one, because I like the lemon filled ones. There was none of those. I was so sad. And they actually put a couple of glazed donuts in there too. I was just like, well, it was not a huge assortment. It was just like, meh, we're just putting donuts here. Go away. So, and we had a hard time with Wendy's too, because my husband, he put that in a mobile order, but seemed to, like, he accidentally didn't finish putting in one of the kids' orders. So, like, for Nicole's, I think, yeah, he didn't put in Nicole's order. So he gave her his sandwich, and then we, like, split up the fries. I gave her my drink since I was having a coffee, which kind of sucked because I was really looking forward to that drink. I was really looking forward to cherry Pepsi. At first, I told her, you can only have a little bit of it because it's a huge drink. And, she's only 11. But at the end of the trip, I looked back because I told her to take small sips, and I just went, you can have it. I have some soda at home. I'm trying to not drink as much soda anyway. But it was going to be my special treat soda. um, so, yeah, that was like most of our last day of school for the kiddos. So they were kind of starting to veg out a little bit. I told them that they all can sleep in tomorrow. Well, for Friday, I told them they can sleep in for Friday. And we gave them the good news that on Friday evening, they were going to have a 2-day sleepover, like a 2-night sleepover with Nana and Papa. And oh my God, the cheers that we got. They were very excited. They did not sleep very well. We're like, you need to go to sleep. You can't be cranky. But we tried to let them sleep in as much as they could for Friday. I had a panic attack on Friday morning because the night before I turned off my alarm. I'm like, I don't need this alarm anymore. No more waking up at 5:50 for me. I'm gonna take a sip of my sparkling water here. So yeah, I was like, no more waking up at 5:50 for me. I'm sleeping in till 7 whatever. Because Michael always gets up early no matter what. So I woke up in a panic at, I want to say it was like 6:20, 6:30, thinking we had overslept. I was like, oh no, we're late for school. Oh my God, we got to get ready. And I was like, I was about to jump out of bed. I was like ready to go. And then my mind caught up and went, no, there's no more school. It's over now. So I calmed down. I'm like, okay, we're gonna just go back to sleep. And I passed out. I went back to bed. I'm like, okay, we can do this. So I was like, told my husband, I'm like, yeah, I didn't sleep very well. It took me a while to get to sleep, and then all of a sudden when I did, I wake up thinking that it's time to go to school. Yeah, so he had a bit of a chuckle with that. But yeah, that Friday, it just like felt very draining. I told the kids that we were not going to leave until we, started cleaning up the house. I was being very serious. I was getting tired of how messy the house was. I'm like, look, it's summer vacation. We're going to start the house off the words. We're going to start the day right with making sure that the house looks nice. I'm like, we're going to start cleaning up top to bottom. And one of the places I wanted to tackle was the dining room. And because the dining room has always been just this disgusting mess. Like, I keep telling them to pick up their toys, pick up their things, and they just go, oh, it's picked up. And I look in there and there's still stuff, like, it's piled neatly, but it's all still on the floor. I'm like, that's not picked up. How am I supposed to vacuum there? So I started going, okay, we're going to go through bookshelf through bookshelf, because what I've done was, like, I had created a system. Like, I have 3 bookshelves in the dining room. One of them is for Legos, one of them's for board games, and then the other one's, like, for my sewing stuff, like, because I used to make a lot of masks and stuff, especially during the pandemic, like right at the height of it. I had a lot of that. In fact, I'm going to probably do an update on the kids' masks. It's not like I don't send them to school anymore with masks anymore, although I feel like I should sometimes with how often they've gotten sick as they have. But things like when they go to the doctor, or like when they're still recovering, when they're not like completely 100% but just okay enough to go to school, their masks are a little tight now. So I think that they need an update. I'm gonna change things up so that way, whenever they need to wear one, they have one available for them. So I'll probably be working on that this summer sometime when I have the free time. But yeah, so anyway, I've started straightening up the entire dining room with them. I had Nicole come in first, and of course, it's not fair. Why do I have to do all of this? And I'm like, kid, you're not doing it all. Well, then where's Michael and Jaina? I'm like, look, there is no room for you, me, and your brother and sister, and trying to clean up all at once. I'm like, we're focusing on one part of the area, and we're trying to get all this stuff out and put into a nice pile to figure out what goes where, right? So, and that's what we did. We cleaned up the entire Lego shelf. I had her do that. I pulled everything out. We organized it. We put everything back together. We put like things like the crazy loom and rainbow loom back in their spots, along with origami stuff. Like that was part of that bookshelf as well. I had her kind of straighten up a little bit of a crafting area that I had that's not a bookshelf, but it's like just it's a bunch of scraps, things like color pencils, crayons, glue sticks, that kind of stuff. I have like a drawer that's meant for the kids to get into. So we kind of started straightening the top of that because the kids have flung papers and things like that. I'm going to do a better system in the next week or two, to be honest. And then when we were done, I'm like, okay, you're all done. Guess what? I'm going to now call in your brother and sister, and they're going to start working on stuff too. And that's what we did. I had her switch out. She got to go sit down because she was upset because they were playing video games and she didn't get to do that. Oh, I meant to. I'll talk about this in a moment. I forgot to mention it. It kind of relates to my WoW in a way, but it's also part of the part of the day for the kids. I completely forgot about it. Anyway, Michael and Jana, they came in. We started fixing up the board games. We started, getting all the card games all organized. And then I had them go over to my crafting area because they piled stuff on top of that. And we started just pulling papers and all sorts of things out. And my goodness, those areas look so nice now. It's like I can see everything. I know where everything is located. I told them that they need to start putting their puzzles away properly, or else I will start throwing things away. I won't throw things away, but I will hide it, so that way they know not to do that. So I did have to throw some stuff away that was missing pieces, unfortunately. But that sucks. Let's see. Okay. So I guess I could talk. Yeah, I can talk about this part. So I forgot to mention. It was like I thought we had lunch at home. No, we actually went somewhere else for lunch on Wednesday after we picked up Michael and Jana for their award ceremony along with Nicole. So when I was playing WoW, I know I'm not going to talk too much about it, but when I was playing WoW, my keyboard wasn't working. The W key was popping off, and which was not a good thing for me. And I was having a lot of trouble, and we found out that the W key, the prongs were like torn off and stuck inside the keyboard itself. So, and I could not get the pliers. I had the pliers, and I could not get the prongs out at all. So my husband went, well, maybe it's time to get a new keyboard. I'm like, okay, maybe it is time to get a new keyboard. So I kind of did a quick research that night after I was done with Raid, and decided I wasn't going to get like an expensive keyboard like what I had before, because my keyboard was over $100. And this time I was like, I'll go with a cheaper one. I'm tired of Logitech. I'm going Corsair instead, because I asked my husband how he liked his and everything. And they were having a sale over at Best Buy. And I was going to go with the light version, which would made it only $30. But when we got there to Best Buy, they didn't have that version, so I had to go with the Elite one. So it was like the K55 Corsair, and it was about $50. $20 more than I wanted to spend, but whatever. And while I was there, my husband decided to be nice as graduation gifts. He told the kids that they can all pick one video game. So they all got to pick a Nintendo Switch game while we were there. And I was just kind of browsing things since, I got my keyboard, and I noticed a mouse. I have a Logitech mouse as well. So I was like, maybe I should go with a Corsair mouse, with 12 buttons and all that. So I kind of checked it out. I'm like, ooh, this feels nice. I like it. I like it a lot, And my husband's like, are you going to get it? I'm like, nah, my mouse is perfectly fine. I don't need it. I'm good. He goes, that's what you said about your keyboard like 2 weeks ago around Mother's Day. Because it is true. Like around Mother's Day, I was like, my husband wanted to get me a nice gift, and I was just like, diamond painting? But he was like, that's not a gift. But he's like, how about a keyboard? And I told him I didn't need a new keyboard because my keyboard was still working. It's only a few years old. I haven't been rough with it. Why would I need a new keyboard? It's like my keyboard heard me and said, you know what? We're going to cause you trouble. So my husband just went like, that's what you said about your keyboard, and now you're saying the same thing about your mouse, because they're about the same age. And I'm like, I'll be fine. It's not a big deal, okay? It's really not a big deal. I'll be fine. He goes, what's the link of that? And I'm like, I sent him the link that I found on Amazon. Like, it was about the same price. And he goes, okay, congratulations. It's going to be here in a couple of days. I'm like, you tricked me. Dang it. He tricked me, man. So no one tell him that my headset has started having problems, because I don't want him to try and replace that. I can be good with my headset for a little bit longer. he always complained, like, before, like, for the longest time I used to be the worst with my headsets. I used to almost replace my headsets, I would say every 3 months. I think this time it's well, it's been a record right now. Like, it's been, what, 2 years since I've replaced my headset? So I feel like I've been doing good. But no one tell them that it's starting to make crackly sounds. We're going to keep holding that out for a bit. Let's see. Oh, Friday. So, yeah, we cleaned up the entire place. I'm going to take another sip of water here. We cleaned up the entire dining room. Had my husband, he took a couple days. He took Thursday off and he took Friday off. To kind of have a little bit of relaxation, to be honest. And he was helping clean up around the house. He wanted to also try and do some other things around here, like we're going to get Jana's tablet repaired. Her tablet's still under warranty, so we're going to be sending that in to see if they can fix that. We're, like, breaking down boxes so we can put them into the recycling center. My husband wanted to go and clean up the car a bit because the kids' footprints were all over it. So he's like, I just want to have the car look a little bit nicer. So he was like, he helped out with vacuuming for me while I was going to the next spot. Got the kids' laundry done. Told them to fold laundry, and then I had to... it felt like it was field day all over again, to be honest, guys. Because I repeated myself so much about what they needed to pack for Nana and Papa's. I was like, what is so hard about making sure you have 2 long sleeve shirts? Because here's the thing, even though it's summer, well, spring, but even though it's summer break, why is it that the high was 57 and 61 and rainy? It was so weird. Oh, of course, I see all these colors as soon as I put this up. Okay, well, that's my own fault. But yeah, I was like, pack a pair of jeans, like 2 pairs of jeans, 2 shirts, long sleeve shirts, some pajamas, a pair of pajamas and undies, you pack two, maybe 3, and it was just like, what am I supposed to pack again? Are you kidding me? I just said, pack this, and then it was just like, it repeated, what am I supposed to pack? And then it was just like, then Nicole's all like trying to be helpful, but I already told her that I got it handled, which was like, I was going to pack the bath supplies and the toothbrushes, and she's all like, I got it. Like, no, I have it. I'm putting things in a bag. I don't want you just shoving wet loofahs and stuff into your backpack. Stop. Oh my goodness. But yeah, it was a struggle, guys. But we got there. We made dinner for the kids and then packed everyone up, and then we sent them all to Nana's and Papa's for the next 2 nights. And it was really weird having... It felt like they were back in school, but at the same time it was very weird because we didn't wake up the next morning to kids asking that they were hungry, because this always happens. Like, we get, I'm hungry, can we have something to eat? And we always tell them the same thing, like, just grab some fruit, grab a Go-Gurt in the morning, eat at the table, and then we'll make breakfast in just a little bit, kind of thing. Excuse me. But yeah, it was really weird not having that, and we got to sleep in that day. It was so nice. But yeah, it was just like we got to sleep in that night, so it was just like, it was really nice. But at the same time, I just couldn't sleep very well. I didn't sleep well at all. The bed was just awful to me for some reason. It just didn't want to be nice at all. So I had to take a bit of a nap later on. And my husband scheduled a restaurant reservation for us, which was very surprising. I was not expecting it, but he's like, I'm going to take you out, I was like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah, so we're going to go out for dinner, and we're going to have a nice time. it was an okay time. I mean, like, overall, it wasn't awful, but it was definitely an experience. So he he scheduled a reservation to the melting pot, and I got myself all dressed up, and ready to go, and we got there. I really didn't have a clue because I'd never been to like a fondue type place or anything like that. So I wasn't expecting. I didn't know what to expect. So my husband, he kind of said, because he went there like 20 plus years ago when he was there for prom. Foreshadowing. um, he said he had a really good time, and his parents have been there lately, and I've been told that that it's to expect. Basically, it was going to be a 3 hour plus kind of thing, that we were going to be there for 3 hours. So I was like, okay. So it was about an hour drive to get there, and we got in. My husband already warned them ahead of time that I had a fish allergy. Um, so they made sure to point out what had fish in it, so that way I could avoid it and everything like that. But I just after all that, I just felt really rushed. Like, it was just like my husband ordered the 4 course meal, and it was just like, here, boom, food, food, food. We never had a moment to just kind of rest. Our food was just sitting so heavy on us. Like, it was, I would say, an hour and 20 minutes from start to finish. And it felt so much for like 4 courses, to eat all together. It was like the cheese dip, and then the salad, and then like the main course, which with all the meats and veggies that was like in the broth, and then of course the dessert thing. I just felt, I'm like, goodness gracious, I felt so uncomfortable. And I was just like, okay, that was a lot. It was fun, but I think, like, if we ever went to do something like that again, I think that we would just shorten it down to cheese and dessert. I mean, like, I like the salad. I gotten like, I think it was called strawberry caprese, and it was sweet. I mean, like, I was expecting some sweetness, but it was really sweet. I'm trying to find this one symbol. Oh, here we go. So yeah, I was surprised about how sweet it was. So, but like, it had candy pecans and everything. But even the dressing itself was like really sweet. So, but yeah, after all that, I told my husband, I'm like, I'm gonna need to go use the little girl's room, because they put us on the second floor, but there's like no bathrooms up there. And I was like, I need to go bad. But I didn't want to go down the stairs because it was steep. It was, I didn't want to have a hard time getting in and out of the booth and everything. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go use the restroom really quickly before we leave. He's like, okay, whatever, that's fine. And I get in there. I'm like, I feel like I'm making a lot of noise, okay? Getting in there because, my shoes squeak and everything. And I hear someone, like, in the next stall next to me, like, I'm like, okay, so I'm just making sure that, I'm not like accidentally. I always get nervous, and I will open a bathroom stall with a person there. So I'm always like, I always tap the thing to see if it opens, and if there's a person there, just so that way I can close it really quickly, kind of thing. I always get nervous. And I'm like, found a stall that didn't have anyone in it, because all of them were looked like they were locked. So I get in, and I was the only one apparently at that point. I get in, I literally locked my stall, and it becomes like, and I sit down. I literally lock my stall, and I sit down in pure darkness. The other person leaves and turns out the bathroom light. And I'm like, who does that? Who turns off a bathroom light in a public thing? Like, if it was just a singular bathroom, okay, I get it. But there's multiple stalls in here. So I'm sitting in the darkness going, And the worst part was I could not find the toilet paper because it was really dark. It was super dark. Like, I'm scrambling trying to find my phone, trying to get my phone out of my pocket. so that way I could try and find the toilet paper, and I finally do, and then it's like a struggle, like as I'm holding my phone at the toilet paper to try and get the toilet paper out, and it does not want to come out, and I'm just like, I am stuck in this purgatory until someone comes in and turns the light on, and I'm just like, thank you, and she starts laughing. She's like, you've been in here this whole time? I'm like, yes, because I can't see. I can't see anything. I felt so embarrassed. Oh my gosh. But after that, I hurried. I was like, okay, we gotta just go wash my hands and leave. I gotta go. Because now I can see everything. I was like, I'm gone. I'm out of here. And yeah, that was an adventure. An adventure and a half. I mean, like, overall, I had a really excellent time. I got to spend time with the hubby. I just wish that things were a little bit slower, because my stomach was so uncomfortable. I was like really hurting right at the end. But yeah, I had a really good experience, and then got to actually get a good night's rest the next time that night, before we had to go and pick up the munchkins. And we were told about how my son doesn't have an off switch. I'm like, yeah, I could have told you that. I'm like, yeah, yes, yeah, just everything and everything. But yeah, the kids love to tell us what they were doing all day, with Nana and Papa, that how much fun they had. I got to hear about how much Nicole antagonized Michael again. Let's see, and then, today has been just kind of chaotic. I've been trying to find a moment to record, and it's been a rough time trying to find a moment. I don't know how I'm going to do it this summer. I will try and figure it out. I got my unboxing done at least. So I have an unboxing for later on, but, I'm going to try and find a time to get a time lapse in. I want to see if I can charge my phone, my GoPro really quickly, and see if I can try and squeeze one more video out today, so I can go, at least I'm done for the week. And be happy I'm able to get some stuff in, because I don't know about next week. We are going to figure out if this summer is going to be rough or not. But I am probably going to wrap it up here. I won't talk much about WoW, because I know that not a lot of people liked it, but it was very an uneventful time, to be honest. I only won one piece of loot again this time around. Wasn't really anything worth it. And now my guild's starting to talk about wanting to do mythic runs instead, so I was like, okay, whatever. And I kind of feel like I'm caught in a loop, because last week, when I was doing Mythic Plus runs for dungeons and stuff like that, they were like telling me, oh, don't worry about it, don't feel rushed, we have 6 months of this content, don't feel pressured or anything. And then I did a Mythic Plus this week, and I was like, I had like, you're not at 2K score yet, and I'm like, no, and they're like, we need to get you up to par. We need to get you there, so that way, blah blah blah. Make sure that we can get you into another person's group. And I'm just like, I only have 3 days that I can put myself on. I don't know if I can add another day. I definitely know I can't with these kids. And I see people like doing like 2 p.m. EST runs, and I'm like, I can't commit to that. My husband's going to be My husband works and does meetings, and I can't just do that and watch the kids. I'm like, I think I'm slowing down. Oh boy. Welcome to adulthood. With that being said, I'm definitely now going to wrap it up. I've finished my section. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the next one. I don't know why I prepped that. Anyway, I hope you guys liked this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!